Welcome on into the 411 podcast. I know it's been a minute. I want to say thank you all so much for the people who are joining in. Instagram family, I see you out there. Thank you so much. If you're out there on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, D Live, Twitch, go ahead and like, comment, share, tag your friends because you never know what you're going to get inside of the 411 here tonight. Sometimes we laugh, sometimes we cry, you never know what type of vibe we're going to have tonight. But I will tell you that I have a very special guest, my friend, Mr. David Wayne Fox. You're going to get something real tonight. I know that for sure. I was just having a conversation with him earlier before, we go live here. And I said, I came across our replay from when he was on, I think maybe a couple months ago. And just the whole vibe, just the conversation is absolutely amazing. So I think you're going to get that tonight. And that comes from, you know, having a real individual on the other line. So I know every single person that comes through, they're real. They're my friends. I'm not trying to say that, but just the connection between us is just absolutely amazing. And we'll give you a little bit of the story about, how we met and the photo shoots and all of that great stuff. But he is an amazing photographer, Mr. David Wayne Fox, all the way from Brooklyn, New York. He will be in pretty soon. So, with that, let's get right on into it. Song of the day. For some reason, I just keep going back to the 80s or the 90s, whatever it is, early 90s, late 80s. Um, it's No Crime, Babyface, off of the Tender Lover album, 1989. So, I don't know if anybody can remember this. I was probably like 9 years old during this time frame, but It's No Crime played heavily on the radio in the summertime. And for some reason, this song just comes back to me. So when you think about it, when you're in it with somebody, you really care for somebody, you're really in a situation, you can't help how you feel. And it's no crime how you feel about it. So don't worry about it. Just keep on loving them, and hopefully they'll love you the same way. It'll all come back full circle one way or the other. 1989, Babyface. It's No Crime, off of the Tender Lover album. What's going on, Mr. Will Serve? How you doing? I just like a beat off of that song. I remember as a kid just sitting in the back seat listening to it. Um, we play Reading Between the Wines. Remember, every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here, Reading Between the Wines, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, D Live, Twitch. Go ahead and check out the replay. Lamia Michelle was on this week, and she did a great job. She did a really great job speaking her truth about her first book that she put together, and is full with emotion, filled with so many different stories. Check out the replay. We had some real live, deep conversation. Mr. Nate Perry, another friend from Brooklyn, New York, and I always stumble a little bit, but I'm so thankful to have you come on our show. Saravia. Saravia is all the way from India. She was the first person to come through on Reading Between the Wines from India and actually broke everything wide open, and a lot of people loved it. So check out that replay as well. We Good Media, thank you for supporting as well. I see Will Serve out there. Will Serve says off Wednesday. I'll be on. I'm working on my first book too. Okay, we can get you to come on Reading Between the Wines too. Onyx Blade, another New Yorker. Rowang, all the way from South Korea. This is some real love. Like, we've really got this good friendship going on all the way from South Korea. She continues to support, and I support her. I just definitely want to say thank you so much. Miss Shanti Refuge. She has 26 journals, and she's doing big things. Please go ahead and check her out on Instagram. Shanti Refuge Journals on Instagram. My sister, my friend, Miss Desiree Covington, I have to say thank you so much. You were one of the first people to purchase my book. So thank you for coming through, and I support you as well. Y'all go ahead and check out my friend, Miss Desiree Covington. Jason T. Davis, all the way from California. Everyone from the West Coast. If you're out there, please DM me. Anybody out there from California, DM me. We have some great things coming up soon. And Miss Nordia from Shea Heaven. Now, we talked about a couple things, and we're going to have to read one thing to get back into the flow. Will serve. I think you said something. I think Desiree said something. I know Onyx Blade said something about this topic here. But when it comes to sympathy, do you look outward? Do you want to seek sympathy from other people? Or are you the type of person that will turn inward for self reflection? Now, I share my story, and I'll run through it real quick. But for me, I'm the type of person that when I'm going through something, I'm going through something. And I got to keep it on the inside, and I'm not really trying to share it with anybody. If anything, people will check me out and be like, "Are you okay?" And then maybe I'll start to open up, especially if I don't really know you like that. And there's one thing where you just, out there running, just saying something about whatever, something silly that's going on in your world. And I'm just being, silly, but on the way to work, I spill coffee, whatever. That's something that's just so minute. And, people talk about simple things like that. But I'm really talking about when you're really in the thick of it, you in some stuff that you really don't want nobody to know your business. Do you seek sympathy? Do you look outward? Do you want to tell your story so that someone can be there to comfort you, hug you, hold you, console, whatever you want to call it? Or are you the type of person that when you're going through something, you turn inward for self-reflection and you ask yourself, how? How do we get here? What do we have to do to get out of it? I don't know. It's a rhetorical question. You let me know. Seb Raps, I see you out there. Got to give a very special shout out to Seb Raps. Definitely has hooked us up here on the 411 podcast. Seb Raps says, I would say so. And I'm sorry, that was Will. Seb Raps says, I believe people should always have care, at least for others' feelings and circumstances. Okay. And that's another thing about it. For me, the reason why I don't speak up a lot, I do it here and there, but the reason why I don't speak up a lot, because I don't know if people are genuine, if they're real. So who wants to get out there and share your story? Because I've had it happen to me where I share my story and I speak on it, and the other person is not really that receptive behind it, and they ain't really giving you the vibes that you want, and then now you feeling, 10 times worse because why the hell did I share my story with you when you're not even being sincere? So that's another reason why I don't really, speak up too much about something. And then most of the time, people just really don't care. Like, do they really want to hear your sad story? Hell, they got enough going on in their own world. Hell, I know I got enough going on in my world that sometimes I can't take on everything that you have. Will says, I don't share until I'm comfortable and I seek less empathy. It's just the way I am built. I don't always look for answers from others. I'll find my way. I always have. I feel you on that one. I definitely feel you on that. So now, after that, after we done realize that, listen, we're in this, and we might be in this by ourselves because we can't always depend on someone else to come pull us up out of the trenches. We can't always depend on someone else to be there for us. For those of you who have people out there that are with you that can help support you and bring you up, congratulations, because I know that every single person that's on this line, there have been some times where you've been left by yourself and you really don't have anybody to help get you through. And most of all, it's more rewarding, and I'm just talking about self, it's more rewarding when I can actually pull myself up and be like, okay, we did that, we've done that, because we know that we can't really rely on, if you're anything like me and have a past like me, we always can't rely on other people to help us. Sometimes we got to pull ourselves up and say, we're going to get up, we're going to get out, and we're going to do something, because we already know what the alternative is: laying down, feeling sorry, feeling depressed for whatever situation is. But we're gonna do something a little bit different. So when you think about the last time that you had to actually catapult yourself back into some normalcy, where you had to basically bounce back. So on a scale of 1 to 10, you go through it, whatever, 1 being, the worst situation, 10 being the best. Think about your last situation, the last time you had to bounce back. And now that you understand, we learn every day, even though we think we understand, the next day we don't. And I get it. But hopefully you learn a little bit of something. Otherwise, you're going to repeat the same thing over again. But anyway, so you bounce back. You're back to some normalcy. How will you protect yourself going forward? So important to learn how to protect yourself going forward so that you don't make those same mistakes. And the game only gets harder. because that same thing that you got hung up on, it comes back full circle, and sometimes it disguises itself a little bit different. Let's talk about the ways that it can be disguised. So you said you weren't going to put up with this. You said you weren't going to put up with that type of person. Now this one comes through. Hmm, maybe he or she dresses better. I got a drink on this one. Hmm, I need somebody who has something. I need somebody who has a little bit more than I have. Maybe they got money now. Same situations that you were dealing with before, but this one, they dress better. They might even smell better. They got more money. They got a better job. How will you protect yourself going forward? You just got out of a situation. You bounce back. You're here. You're living life. You're trying to step back out there and do certain things. But how will you protect yourself going forward? And that's just one situation. It can be so many different things out there. You know, anybody out there feel that they want to share, go ahead and drop your comments. Anybody watching the replay, let me know. How will you protect yourself going forward? Reach out to my friend, Mr. David Wayne Fox. How are you? You gotta. Hey, there we go. I was like, wait, you gotta turn that camera around. How's everything? I can't hear you. All right. It's a little delay. Mm-mm. Let me exit out and try it again. Let's try it again. Let me see. My bad. I'm sorry. It's a little bit of a connectivity issue here. You know, we always go through some things. I think I just lost everybody on Instagram. I apologize for y'all. But yeah, so we have Mr. David Wayne Fox coming through from Brooklyn, New York. I apologize to all of the people on Instagram. I just kind of like cleared everything off trying to get this thing together. Hopefully everybody comes back. But yeah, let's try to pull him up now. Thought I had it. Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Oh, now.
Can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you. There we go.
All right.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I was like, we just wiped everybody off of Instagram. I don't know what happened. Thank you for coming back, Sarabras.
It just seems to be a thing with us. It always happens.
What's going on, Moraz Beats from France? See that we have France love out there. So bounce back. You know, you go through whatever you went through. Nev, how are you doing? All the way from Australia. So sorry that I was not unable to make the show. You and I, David, we spoke about, you know, anyway, we'll get into that. We spoke about my little episode, but so you bounce, yeah, you bounce back, right? How do you protect yourself going forward?
Well, with I look at it as a life experience, and I surround myself with sympathetic ears, people that may have had common experiences. For me, the worst thing that's been happening in the last couple of years is not necessarily relationship oriented, but I was just talking to my former roommate and friend yesterday. I feel like after the lockdown and the whole pandemic and the scare and everything, that I feel like I've lost something. And maybe that's not exactly what you're talking about, but I have had to feel, I've had to bring myself out of that. Yes, we're still going through the pandemic, but it's become a way of life now. And
Yes.
but I used to just get so joyful and excited about things, and I find that there's an underlying, not dread exactly, but an underlying dullness that I feel like was caused by that whole experience.
Yeah.
And so I have tried to surround myself with people who, which is basically everybody, people who've had common experiences. In this case, we've all been through this. And I think the key to anything when you're talking to somebody about relationships or any issue that you've had in your life, I think the key is to find a common factor with the person you're talking to, and play off of that. Because if you, in other words, kind of read the room also. Because if you're talking with somebody and they're just kind of like nodding their heads, like, yeah, okay, what time is it? Then obviously they're not the person to talk to about this. So it's kind of having some instinct and knowing how to talk to people and knowing how and letting people communicate their issues at the same time and find that common ground.
Very well said. Yes, I agree with that. Because there's nothing worse than sharing your story, like I said, and the other person is not receptive.
Yeah.
I shared my story one time with somebody, and after I got done, they made me go all the way back and, childhood stuff. They looked at me and said, "There's nothing that I can do for you." Yeah, at that moment,
what were they, your freaking analyst?
I was like, I went and expressed myself and went through this whole process, and yeah, it was a mess. But anyway, so
I hope you were paying this person.
That's a whole nother story.
Well, at least for analyzing.
Yeah. Mr. Jonathan, I want to know if it's the real Jonathan. Who knows? There's so many Jonathans out there. We spoke about that too. Where you are calling for all that good stuff. Well, you're not calling. We're live, but you know what I mean. Are you there?
No, what?
I said, let everybody.
Are you talking to me or what are you?
No, I'm sorry. I'm all over the place. Let everyone know where you're calling from. Although you're really not calling, you're live, but you know what I mean. Yeah.
Oh, I'm calling from Cypress Hills in Brooklyn.
All right. Now, I don't know what part that is, but I'm right there with you. Brooklyn.
Yeah. It's like from the city, it's almost like out to JFK Airport. I was living in Washington Heights for 13 years with the same two roommates. And if you can imagine living with the same two roommates for 13 years, you have to get along.
Yeah, you do.
So we became like a little family and became friends. And I had lunch with one of them yesterday, and for the first time since I moved, and that was an amazing experience. Went out to my old neighborhood, but I found a place that gave me more room to do my studio work and just to spread out. And I just needed a place that I could call more of my own. I still have one roommate, but she's at the other end of the building, and I hardly ever see her, so it feels like my own place.
I think those are the best type of roommates to have, the ones that you hardly ever see.
Yeah, but I love her when I see her. We still have nice little chats and everything.
Listen,
she's a great person.
I feel you 100%, and I love each and every person that I come in contact with, but sometimes that's the best. To keep everything on an up and up, sometimes it's just best that way. Almost like in a relationship when you're with somebody. The more that I don't see you, the better off that it is, right?
Yeah. You're talking to an eternal bachelor here, so that's a whole other ball of wax.
So you got something exciting coming up tomorrow, right?
Yes, I have a show. My friend Estuardo Meda is
Mhm.
a really wonderful, creative hat maker, and he is also a really good go-get-em kind of entrepreneur. And he has put together a really cool fashion show, and it is. Let me get the information here. I keep forgetting the address, but it's Mad Morton in Manhattan.
Mhm.
And it's 47 7th Avenue South, New York, 10014. You don't need the zip code. But it starts, doors open at 5:30. General admission's $20. And I will be showing a few of my photos and handing out cards so people can get on my shop and look at more of my work. And I'll be selling some of those photos if anybody wants to purchase. And it's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be a runway show with some great hats and models, lots of beautiful people, other artists. My other friend, Annie Kaminsky, will be doing some live painting. And Estuardo will be showing his hats, and there'll be other artists. It's just going to be a really nice event, and hopefully it wouldn't rain on everybody. But yeah, it's going to be cool.
That sounds good. That sounds really good. I wish that
Thank you, Separate. Appreciate that.
I wish that I could be there, but Sundays are really rough. I mean, the last Sunday that I was in New York turned out to be quite interesting. No, but yeah. So
well, we know about those.
good luck. Good luck on all of that. That sounds amazing, and I definitely would love to
Thank you.
to one of his shows in the future.
Thank you.
So your paintings. Listen, you said painting, and I turned it into paintings, but your photography.
Well, and I used to be a painter, so it's not far from wrong.
How would you describe? So for people who are just tuning in and listening, maybe they haven't seen the visuals yet. I'm sure they'll see it afterwards when they go to David Wayne Fox Photography, and that is on Instagram and Facebook. But how would you describe it?
Well, here's a couple of my pieces right behind me.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing.
That's one. That's one of my deserted Broadway photos that I shot during the pandemic.
Wow.
And I basically went through the empty streets of Broadway and shot pictures, just this kind of bleak look. This is one of my other shots. I actually took this on my phone. I don't know if you can see this. It's an underbelly kind of view of the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
And so I do a lot of work in kind of a warm monochrome, in addition to some cool color images. But my work it has a painterly feel to it.
Yeah, you do get that.
I take a lot of my cityscapes and, I take the initial photo and I rework it on Photoshop. That's my tool that I use, and make some really kind of painterly, very almost ethereal kind of looking cityscapes.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I think I've mentioned this on your show before. When I was painting, I was using photographs as a guide for my paintings. And so I was doing all I could to make my paintings look like the photos. And now that I'm doing photography, I try to make my photographs look more like paintings. Not with the gimmicky filters or anything, although I do use some filters, but I don't want them to be gimmicky looking. I want them to evoke emotions and certain feelings about the place. And so they're like enhanced reality.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Now, is this the first time that you're on Instagram Live?
Mm-hmm.
Now, look at that.
It is.
411
I actually did. I did a test earlier, and I had a couple of people pop up from my photography page, and I was like, "Oh, I could get into this." But
that's good.
Yeah, I've never done this before, so I mean, I've done like FaceTime and everything. It's pretty much the same thing. It's just other people watching. So
right. Well, we're not going to get into that. Other people watching.
Ooh, but I
uh,
like to watch.
we had to take it there. Oh my goodness. So, for those of you that don't know, um, just last month it was Pride, and I had the opportunity to have Mr. David Wayne Fox escort me all throughout the whole Pride event, and I just want to say thank you so much for that because listen, it started as soon as I got off the train. I forgot what I was wearing, forgot where I was at. I got attacked as soon as I got off the train, so which was very interesting and very scary at the same time because I'm from Jersey and when I go to New York, I'm not normally dressed the way I was. So,
You want to describe how you were dressed?
well,
Other than the rainbow turban,
I did have a rainbow turban on, so that was a giveaway.
which was amazing.
Thank you. And then I just had regular jeans on, but then my leather vest that was a half shirt. I was naked outside, pretty much. I was.
Naked-ish.
And I forgot that I was dressed like that. And I'm like, what? Why is people approaching
I
me?
mean, compared to the way that a lot of people are dressed at Pride, it was a very low-key outfit. But you looked awesome. That was one of the best weekends I've had in months. As a matter of fact, I had such a great time with you, and just dining out and watching the beginning of the parade and everything. It was a very rewarding day, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and had a couple glasses of wine, curbside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Funny, I don't remember that part.
you don't remember me bringing the bottles, and we were like, I don't. You were like, I don't.
Yeah, I remember. I remember. I was just getting so. Well, we were getting very hot, and I was getting more schnockered than I usually do when I have wine because
that's
maybe
nothing.
it's the heat or.
That's nothing. Please. I was like, is there any more? But I only brought a couple bottles.
Yeah, that was fun. Our little plastic containers there.
Yeah, curbside bottles is what I call it. But
Yeah.
I will tell you, one of the most memorable moments is when we were sitting there eating lunch outside and just going through life. Me, I gotta be the one that always takes it back. So I was just reminiscing and taking it back. And it was almost like if anything ever happens out of this, I don't know what's going to happen, but if anything ever happens out of this and my life was to be replayed on a big screen or something like that, that was definitely a movie scene of us sitting there. And it sort of just like hit me and I got real emotional behind it. And I'm like, this is the first time that I was able to hit the reset button on my life and actually come here to Pride and actually do this on my own without having, people pressuring me and telling me we're going to do this is what you're going to wear, to the people we're going to hang out. I actually was able to do it on my own. So I was like, that's it. That's that moment.
You got to be here.
Yeah.
You got to be here, Laren.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're doing some. That's one reason I enjoy it, and thank you. That's an honor, for you to say that.
And then you got to see me cut up after a while. Remember, we were in a store, and somebody was like, "Go see such and such down there," and my mouth was going off at that point. There's another side of me that you got a chance to see. You were like, "Oh, this is you. Yeah, this is what happens when we get out."
Yeah.
But.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
And then I probably started in with a few too many dad jokes. So.
Yeah, it was good. Mr. David Wayne Fox, I want you to go ahead and tell people where they can get your portraits on your Etsy shop. How's that going?
So my Etsy shop is very slow right now. But for those that are interested in looking at it, it's David Wayne Fox Studio on Etsy. The URL is www.davidwayne davidwaynefoxstudio.store. And that'll take you there. And it's I'm doing a few different things that I hope will beef up business a little bit. I'm changing a few dynamics and switching my pictures around and things like that. And you know, because it was doing very well for the first year and a half, and then it just started kind of fizzling out. I think the economy's got something to do with it too. But
I was gonna say either that, or it's either people are out and about and are not just locked down, scrolling through, shopping.
That's part of it.
Yeah,
that's part of it.
So don't be wishing another lockdown on us now.
Hell no! Oh God!
To increase those sales, don't be.
I honestly, that was the best part of a really traumatic. I have to say that was the worst time of my life. I think it was for many people. Yeah. To be and like for maybe a day, I felt like, I'm on a hiatus from work. They put us on an unpaid furlough, and I started collecting unemployment and everything. And I'm like, I love being alone, and I can be creative, and I can do all this stuff. And then as time went on, I realized that my brain was so fried, and I was so frightened from this thing that I couldn't be creative. I couldn't do anything. And I sat there like a zombie for months. And I finally started making these music videos. I was this little quarantine cabaret thing on Facebook, and started singing. Just to get through it, and but it was bad. It was bad. So no more.
Yeah, can't wait till it's all done. For real, 100%.
Yeah, I'm not gonna answer that with a negative response and saying, "Oh, it'll never be over."
Yeah, I've heard that plenty of times.
No, ultimately, it'll integrate into our society like everything else has.
Yeah. Well, if you want to go ahead and let people know where they can follow you at before we get on into our next segment, which we're going to have some deep conversation when we get to these burning questions.
Well, you can follow me here on David Wayne Fox Photography, and that would be lovely.
Now, is it the same now on Facebook? Isn't it just David Wayne Fox, or?
Yeah, it's David Wayne. Well, Facebook, I have a private page, my personal page, which I don't accept everybody that asks me, but my photography page is David Wayne Fox Photography.
Okay, same thing.
And so yeah, and my Instagram is David Wayne Fox Photography. So.
Okay.
And I also have a portrait page for my my people portraits, which is DW Fox Portraits. And if you want to see some of the pictures of you and other ones that I've taken, then you can go there.
Oh yeah, so I forgot to tell everyone. So we did a little like mini photo shoot in New York. So all of the pictures from Pride, you took them.
Yeah, thanks for the follow, Severaps.
And you also we did a photo shoot last year around October, right? So. Yeah. Amazing experience too. The way you work your magic is just amazing. So check those photos out as well. Yeah. So now we're at the point now we're ready for burning questions segment of the show where I basically put my guests in a hot seat and we start talking about things that have absolutely nothing to do what we were speaking about. So we're getting ready to flip it. Now I've asked this question before in the past and it caused quite some controversy when it comes to being promiscuous. So what I asked before in the past is, being promiscuous, is this a sign of running around with a lost soul, or is it just you being flying free? What do you think? Because some people think that if you're being promiscuous, it's not a good thing. Other people say, this is a part of life. This is nature. This is what we do. It's all about sharing the experience with somebody else. Others say you better be careful with who you share those experiences with, because whatever negative energy they have, you're transferring energies, and it's not a, there's something that's called soul ties where your soul gets trapped up into, it's a whole bunch of other things. So take it away.
Well, I'm a virgin, so I can't answer that question. But and if you believe that one,
that'll be the next burning question now.
So it's a question that I have obviously, like everybody, probably has gone over in their minds over and over and everything. And I do believe that you do exchange energy with people when you have physical relations with them. I do not personally judge people for how many people they sleep with. If it's good for them and if it makes them happy, then, and it makes the other person's happy, I have no judgment about that at all. If, some people just love to love people.
I've heard that before.
Yeah, some people just love people and love physical contact. And they may have one person that they...
I had somebody tell me that. Yeah, I had somebody tell me that.
Yeah.
I just love people. And I'm like, well, thank you. Well, guess what? I don't love you anymore because you love too many damn people.
Well, fair enough. That's a good response on that too. If you feel like you're endangered, if somebody just loves, I mean, physically, there's.
Yes, that is true.
The old adage about you sleep with one person, you also sleep with everybody they've slept with, and
except I got a problem with that. You sleep with one person, but then you sleep with everybody they slept with. But hell, they're the ones who had the fun, but I'm not getting the fun out of it. So I don't like that. Hell, if I sleep with somebody that has slept with 5 people, and then technically because I slept with you, now I slept with the other 5 people, but you went and had the fun and experience, but I don't. I'm not feeling that.
Okay.
How do you get off having all of the fun and I get the aftermath behind it?
I'm just lucky.
I was just saying. I don't know about
I know. I know you're being rhetorical.
But
so honestly, I think there may be a double standard with same-sex relationships versus men and women relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as an out and proud gay man, I cannot judge anybody on their life, the way they live their lives. And if I choose to be with that person, or if I feel like they are exuding negative energy, they're out of my life, or I'm out of there, but yeah, and that's a whole other conversation about men and women versus men and men, or women and women.
You just gave me an idea.
Yeah,
because people want to know which ones are worse when it comes to that. That's a tricky one. Because some people hide things and they don't bring it to the surface, but it's a whole another story.
Well, and it also gets into, say, premarital sex, or you shouldn't have sex until you're married. So what about places where gay people cannot get married? So you're basically just a sinner no matter what you do, on top of everything else. So yeah. It's just,
well, when it comes to that whole marriage thing, the only thing that I have to say is be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. Some of y'all out there better be lucky that you can't get married.
Well, right now we all can, at least here.
You should just be lucky. Just be lucky that you can't get married, because sometimes when you get married, right, and then you wake up and you realize that you made a mistake, and like, now how the hell do I get rid of you?
Yeah.
That one.
Sometimes it's not all it's cracked up to be, right?
To trust and believe. Nah. So you said you're single, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're single and we're loving it.
Mm-hmm. I'm happily out and single and proud.
Well, let's talk about the whole dating. After the pandemic, everything, you bounce back. This could be a bounce back portion. Now you're out there dating. How's the dating scene? How do you like it? Before the pandemic versus after.
So we've been having some nice weather lately, haven't we?
I hear you.
That's the exact same response I gave to my friend Natalie yesterday when we had lunch, and she had the same exact question. It's honestly, well, you and I earlier were talking about these apps. I think these apps are. I had done well with them in the past, and I dated somebody, and then now we're best friends, very good friends, through Tinder. And so I think it has potential, but at the same time, I think there's so many fake profiles and so many Russian bots and so many people trying to get money from you, pretending to be army or servicemen. And I actually fell for that one a few years ago, where a serviceman or somebody said they were serviceman. They had pictures of them in uniform and everything, and they kept going on, and I was falling more and more in love. And then all of a sudden, it's like, "Can you send me money to get back to the States?" I'm like, "No, block." And
after you fell in love, you blocked. After you went all that and fell in love, you were like, "No, block over."
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I love you. Bye bye.
You could do a lot of things.
Thanks,
you could do a lot of things, but don't ask me for some money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel you on that.
But post COVID, I think it's just gotten worse, because there are a lot of people stuck at home, or they were stuck at home, and a lot of people that are preying on people, on the vulnerable, emotionally vulnerable, older people, which I'm officially one of this year. So, it's and the hackers are getting so bad. That's the other thing. I've had my Instagram accounts and my Facebook account hacked into multiple times.
Yep, we've had that
horrible.
Yep, they try to do a lot of things out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so curse them all. Be single.
It's exhausting. I don't have time for it. I psych myself up, and I'm like, all right, that's cool. Let's try it, right? And then after like the first day, I'm like, I'm over this. And the more that I'm over it, the more that I actually feel at peace with myself, because there was a time where I felt that being with somebody would actually complete me. Now it's like the more and more that I'm by myself and discover who I am, that completes me 100%. So that when the next person does show up, whenever, wherever the hell, then it's just something extra. It's not something that's a necessity. Like, either you're going to be here to be something to add value, but if you're not here, we also are doing just A-okay all by ourselves. That's how I am today.
Yeah. I don't think anybody needs to complete you. Maybe compliment you, but not complete you.
Yeah. But see, I had it all.
Somebody to bounce things off of, and but there may be some people that need that, but I mean, good Lord, I don't need anybody to complete me. I'm too much as it is, but it's I don't see. I just like to find people who have common interests, common values. Again, that gets back to what we were talking about earlier, is commonalities, and and finding your people, finding those souls that come near you. And I do believe that's getting into the more spiritual thing again. I do believe that souls hover together through life. In one life, this soul may be your mother, and the next one they may be your best friend or your son. And that's so I believe that we don't meet people by accident. I don't believe that it's.
I know what you mean.
I don't believe it's an accident. Yeah.
Now there's no coincidences in all of this situation here.
I don't think so.
Speaking of, we had a conversation where I told you that sometimes I walk around and I feel as if I'm invisible sometimes. Besides when we're in New York wearing what we're wearing, you're not invisible then. But on a day-to-day basis, when I'm not out there doing all of those things like that, there's a sense of being invisible where I'm like, I tell these stories to people and they're like, Laren, I don't understand. They're like, you mean to tell me that you can go any type of place and nobody sees you? And I'm like, yeah, that's how it is. And it's almost like a level of protection, almost being protected from some of the things that are out there that I probably could get into, but I don't, because I'm invisible. And you're like, I don't believe that, but it's that's what I feel. The level of protection is around this whole thing.
So this is a desirable thing you're saying.
I mean, I feel like I'm being protected, which is good, because when I look back, I'm like, all right, you could have made a mistake here, you could have went there, but not that I don't want to be protected, but I'd be like, all right, can we just have a little bit of freedom here or there? Can we just do a little bit? But I don't know. What do you talked about the whole spiritual thing, so I just went down that path a little bit. And you said, I think one point you said that some people might be afraid that I'm just too much for. I think you said something different. I don't know what you said in your own words, but.
Yeah, I don't remember that exact conversation, but just getting back to the idea of protection and being, you present yourself to the world as with a certain amount of flamboyance. Not a lot, but you have your way that you dress, the way that you do your turban, and that is a particular look that you go for. That is the way you identify yourself, and you can be invisible even that way by avoiding eye contact with people or not responding to them. I sometimes do the same thing, and God knows I can turn myself off unless some guy like in the subway the other day he mentions my shirt and says and I don't respond to him, and then he says, "Well, you don't deserve that shirt. You don't have any manners."
Okay. Well, there's a thing too. Speaking of being promiscuous, right? Everybody has that in them. Don't act like you don't. So there's one way to cure that. And I was told that speak to every single person that you see and give them direct eye contact. You'll get over it very quickly. If you're like boy crazy, every boy, every man you see, walk down the street, say hello to them, give them eye contact. You'll get over all of that, because it's just going to be too much for you to handle. Same thing for the vice versa. If you're girl crazy, every woman that you meet, say hello to them, give them eye contact. You'll get over all of that. Your hormones will get back in check. So when it comes to the invisible thing, trust and believe I've been through that point. I done said hello to a lot of people. I done said hi to a lot of people.
Do you know why I think that is, though? I think that's because instead of objectifying them in your mind and making them a sex object, all of a sudden you're turning them into a human being with a soul.
Trust and believe.
You're honoring their soul by telling them hello.
Trust and believe it moves. It works well.
And then and all of a sudden they're a real person. They're not just a centerfold.
Because it's one thing to look at somebody from a corner and be like, I like what I see. And there's something different than being like, hello, how are you doing today?
Yeah.
Yeah. But either way, I've done it both. Still invisible. Just want to say still invisible.
Well, don't be too invisible. We can't see you. Don't black out your screen.
I thought of that. I thought of that at one point, but nah.
No. Yeah, turn off your light in the room there. It's like, I'm just going to sit here in the dark and do my podcast.
That's funny. All right. Sev Rep, stop it. I'm saying.
I know, I saw that.
I mean, we almost working on 3 years now here. But nah, it's good. It's time for me to find myself. That's what it is. And then whenever you think you want to get into something, you get into it and you're like, ugh, I don't like this situation. I'll run back into it. Run back to what's comfortable. But enough of that. It's all about you tonight. Let everybody know where you're going to be tomorrow.
Again, I will be at, let me bring up the little thingy here. I will be at Mad Morton at 47 7th Avenue South in Manhattan. I will be there from 5:30 on, just $20 to get in, and it's going to be a terrific show. I hope to see some of you there. And I know you can't come, Laren, but I hope that some of you can make it. Introduce yourself to me. Say you saw me on the podcast tonight, and maybe I'll give you a little discount on your photo if you want to buy something. So.
Very good, Mr. David Wayne Fox, my friend. I just want to say thank you so much for this friendship that continues to grow over a period of time. It's been what, a year now, right?
Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
It's and who would have thunk it?
Yeah, every time that we talk, it's like we didn't skip a beat at all. And the stories that we share, we get into more deep conversation, which is good. And it's part of my growth. It's part of my process. And there are no coincidences. And again, I've always needed somebody like you to be in my life. And had I have met you a long time ago, maybe I probably wouldn't have made some of the silly mistakes I did, but it's part of the process. I get it. But you're here now to help make sure that I don't do some of the same things again. So.
Well, you enrich my life too. So thank you so much, Laren. You've introduced me to a whole new world in many ways of communicating and.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Curbside.
I'm not just talking about Instagram Live, but.
and showed you about
curb. But
Go ahead.
You were the first person to hit me up on my Instagram and just say, your photos are interesting and I'd love to talk to you. And I'll always thank you for that.
Yes. And you tried to get me to take some pictures in front of some crazy statues, but it didn't work. But we still had some fun.
I'll still get you in front of those damn statues. You'll be kissing them when I'm done with you.
Oh, no. But yeah, we still have to go see Grounds for Sculpture one day.
Yes.
Yeah, we were trying to do that. And it didn't work out well. That's probably because there were some crazy statues in there that I just wasn't ready for.
Yeah.
Universe works well in my favor.
Yeah.
Well, take care. Good luck tomorrow. Have a wonderful night, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much, Larry. Take care.
Take care. Good night.
Good night.
Now, hopefully, you know how to disconnect from here, because last time I shut
Oh,
everybody off. I think it's a
okay.
little.
I
I
think
think
I
it's a
just
little
I'll hit
X.
my little X here. So
Yep.
bye bye.
See ya. Okay, I think he did it. I think he got it. Seb Raps, thank you so much for hanging out there. Thank you all out there. I see a couple people out there. Not quite sure where you're calling from tonight, but if you're out there on Facebook, I want to say thank you so much for the love out there on Facebook, Instagram. It looks like it's kind of stuck right now, but thank you, Seb Raps. I saw you out there supporting as well. Twitter, I want to say thank you. Can we get another night like we had the other night? I think there were like 20 people that showed up on Twitter. Thank you for that. YouTube, please go ahead and subscribe at Laren Gaines. TikTok, I love the love that I get out there internationally from TikTok. Again, at Laren Gaines. D Live family, Twitch. Speaking of Twitch, I know we got a slow start, but I will take any win that we possibly can get. So for those of you who understand this whole 411 process, understand where we started at 2 years ago to where we are here today. We started off with 20 followers on Instagram, and now have over 2,000. TikTok, we started with 2,000. Now we're close to 6,000. So, you win some, you lose some. I remember Twitch, we were hanging in there with like one or two people for like 6 months. Now I think we up there to like 15. It's not kicking out the door and, breaking barriers, but we making it there. Daily Motion, you can get small clips of the show. 411 Podcast at Laren Gaines on Daily Motion. Again, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you out there for supporting. If you would like to support, you can go ahead and click that link above all of my social media platforms. And you can go inside of Volume of Deliberation Remix Journal, and you can purchase my new book for $7.99. Deliberation Remix Journal is a 30-day transformational journey towards a healthier mindset. Not saying that you're going to be 100%, but these are just some things that I do, some tools, some affirmations that I use to help become the master of my own mind. And trust and believe that once you think you become the master, you're probably doing a little bit too much, because it's a fight, it's a battle, it's a journey that never really ends. You have to constantly keep pushing, striving, thriving, whatever you want to call it, to get to the next level. Because your mind is tricky. It's very powerful. It's the most powerful thing that you have on your body is your mind, your brain. And you got to try to become the master of it, because your brain and your mind and all of that great stuff will try to outsmart you if you don't understand how to play the game. I'm still learning. I'm still going through my journey, and I'm just sharing a little bit with you. And of course, I have to thank my executive producer, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, for allowing me to come out here and give you the 411 podcast one more time in life, because without him, none of this would be possible. You wouldn't be out there. I wouldn't be here. So I just want to say thank you. Now, with that, I also want to give a very special thank you to my friend, Mr. Alex Coquito. Please go ahead and check him out on YouTube at Alex Coquito. We have a show called Midnight Vibes. We just taped the show, so please go ahead on over to Alex Coquito and check him out. Midnight Vibes, check me out. I'm the host of the show. Awesome show. You see your boy in a new way, a new light. Great stuff. Oh, we have D Live and a fan. And let's see here. The Truth Heals. Thank you so much for coming through. I hadn't heard from D Live people in a minute, but I'm glad that you came through tonight. Thank you so much. And on that note, everybody, I will see you when I see you. Thank you so much for your love and support. And check me out 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 411 Podcast. Have a good night.